But the other point of outrage in Washington today was the arraignment of Trump's former FBI chief turned enemy, James Comey. At Trump's command, Comey has been indicted on charges related to authorizing a leak of classified information, even though investigators found insufficient evidence that he leaked classified information. And the prosecution's lead witness says he never leaked classified information. Other than that, though, lock him up.
Trying to tell the public we're in a massive misinformation campaign. The president himself tweeting out AI videos of fake news reports on healthcare. This is really dangerous and it's really hard. And I cannot express to you the concern and the absolute bafflement and fear of our European allies asking me, is this stuff really going?
The strange thing about power is how desperate it sounds when it's losing its grip. Trump calls it decisiveness. Kimmel calls it theater with a broken script. Walz watches like a professor, grading a student's doodle labeled policy draft. Somewhere between a speech and a sketch, America ended up with a president who thought every controversy was just another plot twist in a season finale.
Trump wants that Nobel Prize so bad. I've seen a lot of Oscar and Emmy campaigns, but no one has ever vied for an award more vigorously than our Dalai Lama.
Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize. He didn't do anything. They gave it to Obama for doing absolutely nothing. He got the Nobel Prize for doing nothing. They should give me the Nobel Prize. Everyone says that I should get the...
And I am going to challenge him. I mean, my God, we've got the White House threatening investigations in jail time because an escalator stopped. Walk up the damn stairs. This stuff happens. This is life. Do not normalize this.
Trump's tales always open the same way. Bold declarations wrapped in glitter. The economy is booming. Borders are sealed tight. The world is in awe. And if reality disagrees, that's reality's problem. Kimmel notes the irony. Confidence so thick it's waterproof, even in a flood of contradiction. Walz smirks. For a man who brags about building skyscrapers, Trump's most elaborate structure might be the mythology surrounding his own image.
The president using the Department of Justice to prosecute people he doesn't like is very concerning, especially if, personally speaking, you are one of the people he doesn't like. No one makes enemies like Donald Trump. He even has a problem with the QAnon shaman now. Remember the guy in the horns who stormed the Capitol? Well, he's doing great, first of all, but he's suing his beloved president.
Each week births a new crisis, and every crisis earns the same treatment, a podium and a promise that no one else could handle this better. Kimmel jokes that America's true infrastructure project is propping up the storyline. Roads get mentioned, but timelines get paved over more often. Walz can't decide if it's ego or faith. Watching chaos repackaged as momentum and sold as reform.
The Nobel Prize. I was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. I got the Nobel Peace Prize nomination. I got nominated for the Nobel Prize. Where's my Nobel Peace Prize they don't talk about? A Peace Prize Nobel nomination, and they didn't cover it. And I don't care, but I'm not looking for it. I'm not politicking for it. I'm just saying that there's a lot of unfairness in this world.
Yeah, well, you know what? No one has suffered more unfairness.
Trump didn't just take credit, he licensed it. The sunrise? Presidential brilliance. Stocks up? Pure genius. A bill passed without his hand? Definitely his idea. A hurricane misses landfall? Masterful coordination. Walz chuckles, that tired, knowing kind of laugh. Kimmel wraps it up with a shrug. This is what happens when a mogul finds out democracy doesn't come with a return policy.
The administration will start firing workers instead of furloughing them, and you think it might target workers in blue states?
I do. I think it goes back to this question, Tom, that it appears like they're trying to do that. The disruption is there. The willingness of the Speaker of the House to blame. I have seen Fox News even correct this issue, that trying to tell the public we're in a massive misinformation campaign. The president himself tweeting out AI videos of fake news.
Every handshake feels like a branding opportunity. Kimmel likens his diplomacy to a dating show, exit scenes, emotional reunions, all staged. Walz says it's like managing a peewee team with a kid who insists the scoreboard's rigged every time he's losing.
Why are you suing Donald Trump?
Because he's out of his ding-dong diddly mind. The guy, he's not mentally fit to be president.
But he pardoned you. He gave you a full pardon.
Ipso facto. Does that sound like a guy making rational decisions? I mean, I'm wearing horns and whacking it at the library.
Okay.
Behind the punchlines, government grinds on. Agencies translate tweets into instructions. Staffers analyze smirks like they're ancient symbols. Kimmel pictures morning briefings filled with applause, confusion, and slides explaining why today's truth cancels out yesterday's. Walz, steady as ever, questions how long a nation can improvise before it gasps for air. It's not the exaggeration that stings, it's the earnestness. Trump believes every word. To him, repetition is truth. Kimmel calls it legislative wishful thinking. Walz calls it rule by repetition. America just calls it Monday. The rallies never ended. They just changed stage. It's applause, grievance, applause again. Kimmel sees it less as politics, more as a power transfer fueled by outrage. Walz says it's what happens when civic duty morphs into crowd dynamics. The chant evolves. The message doesn't.
He's had it hard, guys. He's had it really hard. He claims he's not politicking for the Peace Prize, which must be why the White House posted this very subtle message calling him the Peace President. The Peace President is sending a platoon to invade a yoga studio in Portland right now. This is all you need to know about how we're being perceived around the world. Norway braces for Trump's reaction if he does not win the Nobel.
Walz points out the irony of a leader promising greatness while insisting the country had none before he arrived. It's patriotism with a price tag, equal parts flag and branding deal. The economy becomes a scoreboard. When it rises, he wins. When it falls, the deep state's cheating. Kimmel says it's like watching someone grade their own test with crayons. Walz argues that real strength comes from admitting flaws. But reflection doesn't fit the brand. Statistics get tossed around like seasoning. Add when flattering, skip when not. Climate change is fiction until it floods the fairway. Kimmel wonders how a man builds towers yet stays shocked by rising tides. Walz calls it hindsight with selective vision. The energy strategy runs on nostalgia and denial. Health policy follows the same script. Experts are annoying until they get results. Then they're props.
He negotiated the damn trade deal with them. If trade is so bad with Canada, he was the guy who signed the deal. It defies logic. But look, I think this is how he ran business. He stiffed contractors. He stiffed workers. He doesn't pay his bills. He declares bankruptcy. The one thing is, his claim that he's the business president, he is the worst possible business executive that I have ever witnessed.
Science became a loyalty check. Kimmel says it's like doctors debating thermometers. The pandemic didn't shatter the system. It exposed its cracks. And still the tweets flowed. Blurts of certainty in a world refusing to play along. Each post was a headline, every correction an attack. Kimmel names it government by spell check. Walz calls it a bumper sticker administration. The megaphone never rests because silence sounds like surrender. Hyperbole became fuel. Setbacks morphed into spin. The man could fall up the stairs and call it strategic levitation. Walz compares it to a magician mid-trick who forgets he's on camera. Scandal fatigue is the new normal. What once stunned now barely trends. Kimmel notes that apathy is Trump's greatest achievement. Walz adds, if everything's dramatic, nothing's important.
The Senate Judiciary Committee was at work today hearing testimony from Trump's Attorney General, Pam Bondi. Bondi refused to deny that border czar Tom Homan was seen accepting $50,000 in cash in a paper bag at a Cava restaurant. He hasn't even denied this. How crazy is it? $50,000 in a bag. The FBI got it on tape. He's still running the border. He's still in charge of rounding up illegals. Hey, Tom, if you're looking for illegals, we found one living in your house.
Cabinet meetings echo sitcom boardrooms. Nods all around. Smiles on cue. No one wants to be the first to break the spell. Loyalty is the currency, and the market is inflated. Kimmel says it's like clapping for the chef while the stove explodes. Walz reminds us, true leadership earns applause when no one's looking. But here, spotlight is the only reward. What used to be unpredictable now reads as American. Walz notes the shift. Consistency used to be a virtue. Now a liability because it doesn't go viral. Global allies adjusted to the noise, still waiting for the quiet to return. The jokes sting because the stakes are real. Kimmel jokes. Walz anchors. Satire doesn't fix things, it makes them visible.
The government of Norway is scared he might punish them, that he might declare them an enemy for not giving him the Nobel Peace Prize. Give me that Peace Prize or I'll stick it up your Aurora Borealis. No president has ever been more committed to peace. And he's arresting all the rabble-rousers to prove it.
We have arrested dozens of individuals that are Antifa members or affiliated with them, and I want to thank our Attorney General for prosecuting them and making sure they never see the light of day again.
That's just the Secretary of Homeland Security suggesting we lock up American protesters for life.
The myth repeats, loud equals right, and swagger is substance. Kimmel calls it confidence, without credentials. Walz dubs emotional economics. Invest belief, and the ego's stock never crashes. But numbers don't lie forever. Campaigns blur. Press briefings double as ads. In a world of overstatement, honesty starts to sound radical. But it works. Confusion captures clicks. Outrage draws eyes. It's leadership as showbiz. Keep the audience hooked. Keep the noise loud. Kimmel calls it reality TV's final form. Walz sighs, democracy was never meant to be streamed. Most bizarre is Trump's belief in his own myth. Losses become pivots. Mistakes become foresight. He's forgotten where the character ends and the real man begins.
Comey faces up to 5 years in prison. Today he pleaded not guilty, and the prosecutor in the case is a Trump favorite. Former Miss Colorado third runner-up Lindsay Halligan, who has no experience in prosecution at all. There she is. She was an insurance lawyer, but she's very good looking. Trump picks his lawyers like he's casting a reboot of Suits. They brought Lindsay in at the last minute because the first prosecutor, who himself had been appointed by Trump to the U.S. Attorney's Office 4 months ago, refused to take the case because of a lack of evidence, and also because if you prosecute someone for vindictive reasons, you could lose your license to practice. And in Lindsay Halligan's case, you could even...
Walz says it's what happens when performance swallows purpose. It's not deception, it's immersion. The man isn't acting like he's leading a show. He genuinely thinks the show is leadership. The spotlight isn't validation, it's command. Kimmel calls it confidence in echo. No insult breaks him, only perspective can. Kimmel delivers the punch. Walz explains the bruise. They aren't mocking him. They're revealing the absurdity we started accepting as standard. The real punchline is how numb we've become to it all.
I got to tell you, pointing out just an observation of mine that I made. I just have to say it. You know it, you feel it. These guys are creepy, and yes, just weird as hell. That's what you see. That's what you see.
Look, I get it. You get up in the morning and you doom scroll through things, and although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. Just saying. There will be news sometime. Just so you know, there will be news.
Kimmel reflects. History won't remember what he built, but how loudly he swore nothing could break. Walz imagines future students reading this chapter the way we read telegrams, amused, bewildered, detached. Tweets as artifacts of a time when attention was mistaken for authority. And when the laughter fades, what's left is an image. A leader trapped in his own reflection. Kimmel doesn't need closer. Walz doesn't deliver a verdict. The scene says it all. The slogans, the noise, the spotlight chasing no one. The show's been canceled, but he's still on set. The audience left. The credits rolled. Yet he keeps rehearsing lines for a crowd that's gone. What remains are echoes, repeats of promises that expired long ago. But in his eyes, the stage lights still shine. And Kimmel and Walz watch, not with anger, but exhaustion, as the performance drags on long after the story has ended.